Digimon! Who knew from its earliest days as simply a virtual pet, not unlike Tamagotchi, that it would explode into the multimedia juggernaut that it is today? The argument is always present as to which is better, Pokemon or Digimon. And while Pokemon will forever have a place in my heart, I'm choosing Digimon every single time. The anime is more compelling, and little me will never forget that Angela Anaconda short that played at the very beginning of the Digimon movie. That can never be beat. But this video isn't about which is better. You gotta click on the video because you want to find out, just like me, does Digimon as a whole qualify as an Isekai? Well, buckle in, friends, because we have a lot to unpack before we reveal this answer. So sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and let's find out, is Digimon an Isekai? Well, to first find out if Digimon qualifies to be a part of the Isekai genre, we have to first go over what exactly an Isekai is. Of course, by now, we've all seen our fair share of otherworldly shows. It's taken the anime world by storm since the 2010s, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down. That's fine by me. It's become my favorite genre of anime, and I welcome it. Give me more! Getting back on track, in order to find out if Digimon fits the bill, there are select parameters we have to abide by. So let's first define Isekai and then go over the prominent characteristics that define the genre. So according to Lord Wikipedia, Isekai directly translates to different world, another world, or other world, and is a subgenre of portal fantasy. Wait, what? What the holy Angemon is a portal fantasy? I had no clue prior to doing research for this video. Thank goodness! Author Farrah Mendlesohn got us covered. She describes portal fantasy as this: a fantasy world is entered, behind which the fantastic elements remain contained. Clear as mud, right? Now let's actually define Isekai. Now listen carefully, because there are some keywords that are very important. It is media that revolves around a displaced person or people who are transported to another world, such as a fantasy world, virtual world, or parallel universe. With this definition alone, surely Digimon makes the cut, right? Well, keep those thoughts rattling in your brain. This wouldn't be a very credible video without multiple sources, thanks scientific method. So I also snagged the definition from TV tropes as well. The ordinary high school student, frequently their friends, and sometimes their enemies, are all transported, often summoned, to another world where they find they have an important role to play in events of significance that are occurring at the same time as, or because of, their arrival. Usually there is no hope of their finding a means to return home until after the threat facing them has been defeated. Whew! That was a mouthful. Let's think for a bit. Just based on those definitions alone, certain aspects of Digimon are playing in my head. A summoned group of children, chosen children, or Digidestined, a parallel world. Right now, things are looking in favor of Digimon being considered one of the Isekai greats. Let's continue with the major characteristics of Isekai. Of course, with the genre being as big as it is, a few subgenres of Isekai has sprung up with a few characteristics and tropes of their own. There's the MC being somehow blessed with godlike riz and having a harem. Being a degenerate, that is my personal favorite. Then we have SAO and his successors spawning new life in the video game shenanigans, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the villain himself, Truck-kun, and his despicable ilk. The menace that spurred solid entertainment. However, we're just going to focus on Isekai as a whole and lay out the basic tropes associated with it. So of course we have the main character being inexplicably summoned to a new world with over-the-top or unique skills or powers. He, she, or they are granted the title of chosen hero or are treated special generally because they came from another world. They are destined to ward off the looming threat plaguing this new realm, and more often than not cannot go home until the deed is done. Other elements sprinkled throughout Isekai are RPG-based mechanics and the MC assuming a new identity even if they haven't been reincarnated. This isn't always the case for some Isekai shows, but it's common enough for it to be mentioned. Now with those in mind, let's cover the characteristics of Digimon and see once and for all if our beloved franchise makes the cut. Started with the season that most people know, Digimon Adventure, there's a strong case for it from the jump. From the opening alone, you see 7 children being inexplicably summoned to some random existence. As the show reveals later, they're called upon by Genii and the Harmonious Ones, basically Digimon gods for those uninformed, to restore balance to the digital world by combating the evil that's throwing said balance out of whack. Children are given the title Digidestined, or Chosen Children in the original Japanese. That's important because this sets these children apart from any old person who just so happens to have a Digimon partner, called a tamer. As Digidestined, they're given the ability to influence Digivolution, a process that's explained that's supposed to happen naturally over the course of several years. That's why Kari's partner, Gatomon, is the only Digimon partner to remain at her champion level, because she reached that stage long before meeting Kari. Throughout the course of the show, these children traverse the digital world, tackling several challenges they face along the way. But the action isn't just contained on this parallel plane. The human world is also affected and is often the battleground for major events. Now what about the next season? Digimon Adventure 2. This is where things start to get a little bit iffy. The protagonists this time aren't summoned to the digital world, yet they're still chosen and identified as Digidestined. And while the digital world is the main stage, the heroes weren't trapped there. They could come and go as they please and only choose to remain in the digital world when the occasion called for it. They still had all the powers and responsibilities as the protagonists in the first season, but that's about it. And the argument starts to crumble once we get into the third season, Digimon Tamers. Most of the action happens in the human world. If anything, the Digimon get isekai to the human world and have to fight their way just to get back home. But in all seriousness, Digimon Tamers has all of the tropes associated with the first season, except that it doesn't involve being forced to travel into a new world. When the Tamers do eventually travel to the digital world, it's by choice, just like with season 2. So far, it's 1-2, with only Digimon Adventure making any strong claims to catapult the franchise into the Isekai ballroom. But wait, there's still one more contender coming up. Digimon Frontier, my favorite season. This wild card of a season just might be enough to sway the vote. Straying away from the traditional tropes associated with the first 3 seasons, Digimon Frontier still has similar elements to Digimon Adventure. A group of heroes were called to the digital world by a higher power, Ophanimon, forcibly transported, and were given powers to combat evil. They became the legendary warriors. Instead of having Digimon partners, they had the power to become Digimon. And unlike the other entries, their actions had little to no bearing on the real world. Digimon Frontier also seemed to follow more closely in Isekai format, summoning, getting powers, exploring a new world, fighting evil, and leveling up along the way. With all that being said, does that tip the scale in favor of Digimon being considered an Isekai? In the end, that's your call to make. I stopped at Digimon Frontier because the first 4 seasons are the ones I had the most familiarity with. I've seen the other seasons and have played most of the games, but not to the extent as the others. Which, in my opinion, the only thing I can say for certain is that I don't think it's not an Isekai, based on the definitions and tropes discussed, as well as comparing it to the other shows that are considered an Isekai. I think if somebody were told me, I think Digimon's an Isekai, there's solid evidence to back it up. But what do you all think? Given what we discussed and what you know, should Digimon as a whole be considered a part of the Isekai genre? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye. Wild Force, Master Org, let's prepare for 5 more. Wipe the floor, break off the horn.